Hi everyone, I'm Lauren. I identify as a white straight female and this is my HDFS 438 final video reflection. I was really excited to take this class to learn more about other people's ethnicities, cultures, race, and how all those things interconnect. It's important to realize that this is a families class, so how we were raised as a family unit really impacts our further development and how we were brought up from then. At the beginning, we discussed the Bronfenbrenner's ecological systems theory, and I think that's one of the base theories of this whole class because we start with the microsystem, the mesosystem, and move up to the chronosystem. So each one of these things impact our development and how we're going to live our life from then on out. One of my favorite things about this class was having such an open and honest space to be able to be comfortable enough to share controversial subjects, things like that. We went into things about white privilege, white fragility, and these are hard things for some people to talk about, especially me. I grew up having some knowledge about other people's cultures and other people's ethnicities, but nothing too extensive. I think I was definitely colorblind when I was younger, and I learned that that's something that's not good to be, because it's good to celebrate other people's cultures and celebrate everyone's differences and not think of everyone as the same. Through our in-class discussions, I've learned to think this way, especially with people sharing their experiences with discrimination and how they've dealt with it. People like Chris, May, and Caitlin were never shy to share their experiences, and I have a lot of respect for them for that. It was interesting to hear people so different from myself share how they were raised and how their families influenced who they have become. Like I previously stated, I grew up with some knowledge about others' ethnicities and races, but I learned so much more through this class. I'm Colombian and I've always learned about my Latin heritage and what it means to me. My grandma, who raised me while my parents worked, loved to share her stories of struggle and success when she came to America. So doing my autobiography paper helped me to learn more about my ancestry and where I came from, and I was able to discuss these topics with my family and who educated me more. And then having the in-class discussions, like our Latinx discussions, helped me further my knowledge. During our Latinx discussions, I was able to learn more about how others were raised, and celebrating the likeness of cultures is so important to me. Although we're all so different, we can still come together and celebrate how we have different things that are similar to one another. This class opened my eyes a lot to other people's identities and really focused on intersectionality. Especially in the last few weeks, we've discussed intersectionality a lot. So intersectionality is defined as the interconnected nature of one's identities. Like for me, being a white straight female, these three identities interconnect to form who I am as a person. It is interesting to know how these identities are perceived by others and how different they can be as well. Through our various panels, we learned about people who have similar backgrounds but had different upbringings, but also how their similar cultures can be to one another, have the same underlying values. The white privilege discussion was one of the first ones that we had in class, and it was one of my favorites, but it was also like hard to witness at times because we labeled things like to be white is blissful ignorance, and that's like one of the biggest things that I wrote down. I remember my notes from that day, and that's just like hard to think about, like how other people can view me as being blissfully ignorant just because I'm white. We also discussed what it means to be white and how people of color can feel like disadvantaged at times. Another one of my favorite discussions was our discussion on white fragility and Robin DiAngelo's reading as well as her TED Talk. I think that was like my favorite thing to discuss in class, as well as during the in-depth family study. That was my favorite portion to discuss. I interviewed my boyfriend's family and we spent like almost 2 hours. I think like I came up with questions about the reading and asked them how they felt about white fragility and white privilege and whiteness in general. and learning about how others view whiteness and white privilege helped me to understand it even more. It's important to note that white people don't always realize how easy they have it until they're treated differently. Like, for example, when I'm in non-white space, I experience what others experience every single day when they feel like they are different, when they are being judged, when they're in some place different than when they're with their own people. And I think that's one of the flaws of whiteness, how people don't realize how easy they have it until they have to experience something hard to go through. Overall, this class just taught me to celebrate other people's differences, especially through our panel discussions and learning about how different people are, how different we all are from one another. At the end of the day, we're all humans and we all can experience the same emotions. And I think that's the most important thing to realize about how, although we're different, we're still so alike. Thanks, guys.